Zach, let's talk about Michigan a little bit. I want to talk about maybe a funnier side of this in just a moment, but let's talk about the actual notice of allegations, the things going on there. Michigan fans had kind of guaranteed, and I know we're going to get comments, so maybe I should tone this down a little bit, but probably not because I've got you on. Michigan fans had guaranteed us that this was over. And it was done. See, it's done. We're on to the next season. And I do think in some other situations it might have been over, but because the NCAA is basically powerless on everything else now, transfers, NIL money, like they just need somebody to like crucify at this point.
Yeah.
So unlucky timing for Michigan. Should have cheated earlier, I suppose. But does anything serious happen from this? Do we get like suspensions out of this for like more, like the stuff with more deleting messages and stuff? Obviously I have some funny thoughts there, but just what are your thoughts overall?
Well, I think, first of all, I can only, the first thing, I think the most important thing is Charlie Baker just took over the NCAA, right? This is his first real scandal to kind of set a precedence for how he's going to govern if the NCAA continues to be the governing body. That's a different conversation. So I would think you're going to get some form of an iron fist because it's his first chance to kind of set the letter of the law. And I keep going back to, because it's the rivalry, because it's so similar. Ohio State had players trading their jerseys that they were given after the bowl game and trading them to get a tattoo. Jim Tressel found out about it, deleted the emails and didn't report it. He got fired. Ohio State got a bowl ban. They vacated wins. Everything that Michigan has done has been more severe than that. They had a racketeering operation that was flying to games, buying tickets, recording signals. We all know the story. But the most important thing that came out in their response was Sherrone Moore originally said, I deleted those messages because I was so angry that someone would do that to these kids and these players and this team. But then they recovered them. And it's like, no, you deleted him because he was talking to you about sign stealing.
Have you? I've seen you post screenshots on your personal Twitter and things you were very upset about.
Yeah.
I've never been so mad that I was like, you know how I'm going to show them? You know how I'm going to show them that I'm mad? I'm going to swipe to the left and delete this off my iPhone. Like, that's the worst excuse I've ever heard.
Ever.
Like, just say what it was.
Right. And it's one of those things like, dude, we watched this intern behind you on game day talking to you before every play call. Stop it. Stop the charade. We all know what it was. You're caught in 4K. And it's worse than I thought it was. I mean, the assistant coach at Central Michigan that got Connor Stallions a sideline pass that immediately got fired after it was exposed Connor Stallions was on the Central Michigan sideline for the Michigan State game, drove to Ann Arbor and met with Sherrone Moore. Like, you couldn't be more implicit in this thing than Sherrone Moore is. And I just think the deleting the messages, like denying it, his public messaging is going to hurt him in the long run because it's just pissing him off. You're pissing the NCAA off at this point. They're like, no, just tell the truth. Let's get to the punishment and move on. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing that came out with the new release was Sherrone Moore not only knew about it, but deleted messages. So how does he survive if Jim Tressel got fired? We're talking about trading a jersey for a tattoo or affecting the game of college football by illegally cheating, like stealing signs. And it's just, it feels like it can't be a nothing burger. I think if I had to guess, I think you're going to get a 1-year postseason ban. They're going to vacate all of 21, 22, and half of 23, which will then in turn vacate the championship. And I think Sherrone Moore gets suspended. I don't think they fire him. When Michigan hired him, they knew that he was a part of all this. He's there partly because of the scandal. So that's what I would guess happens, but it's the NCAA. You never know.
Yeah. They'll give Jim Harbaugh a show cause while he's in the NFL to really flex their muscle.
Right.
All right. Tell me we were talking about this right before, and then we'll wrap up with this, but we were talking about this right before. There's a funny aspect of this too. There's a funny angle of this that you have something to do with. Contrary to popular belief, you didn't necessarily break this news. No. You didn't leak this, but some people think you did. So let's talk about what happened.
Well, it wasn't even intended. It was not even intended to be a troll job, right? It was just me on my show jokingly saying, if I wanted to troll Michigan, this would hit like crazy. And I knew because he came and talked to our team about drugs, that Ryan Day's brother was a DEA agent or CIA agent. And So he's a federal agent. And since getting out of the bureau, whatever it's called, he started his own private investigation firm. Had nothing to do with this. Ryan didn't even know they were cheating. Like, Ryan Day's brother had zero involvement. But I just said, if Michigan fans find out that Ryan Day's brother is a PI, they are absolutely going to create this narrative that Ryan Day's brother did it and Ryan Day committed a felony. And I just said all this on my show. And then 2 days later, a Michigan beat reporter reports Ryan Day's brother is a PI, and we have sources inside the program that say he was the one. And then it just grew. It went to ESPN and Barstool. It went all the way to Fox News, not even a sports organization. They reported it. And to this day, that's over a year ago, to this day, people are still on Twitter and some of the beat reporters at Michigan saying, this is all going to come out. Ryan Day's brother did it. You're like, oh my God, this is brutal.
The levels of delusion I feel like it takes are pretty ridiculous, but at the same time, that is college football and that's what we live in. So
yes, it is.
It kind of is what it is. Zach, I appreciate you hanging out. Where can people follow you? Where can they find your work, watch your show, all those things?
Yeah, live noon Eastern on YouTube every day, noon to 1:30. We do an hour and a half, and then it goes out on podcast everywhere. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, all the distribution. So you just Menace of Sports. You can find it anywhere.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you tuning into College Football Addiction. Appreciate Zach Smith from Menace to Sports for taking a few minutes and chatting with us. If you haven't already, make sure you click the link in the description and go subscribe to his channel. If you're a Buckeyes fan, if you're a fan of any team in the Big Ten, if you're just a college football fan in general, his content is some of the best here on YouTube. We'd love if you did the same here. But again, I'm not asking for myself. Go make sure you're subscribed to Menace to Sports. Appreciate Zach. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon on College Football Addiction.